Welcome to Bat Beep Crazy. Now, this is the Canadian edition. A couple of mentions of our maple-leafed friends, but it's really just the normal global version that you love. I'm just touring Canada at the moment. I've spoken in Toronto and Montreal, and tonight in Vancouver. Then I get to go back home to my little girl. I'm so excited. But first, of course, I must give you this Bat Beep Crazy. And I wanted to start this week's edition with a public service announcement, if you'll allow me. To all media organisations, if you purport to produce news, it is your job to fact-check said news. I don't know how many times people need this stuff explained or how many times they want to be completely exposed. Hamas are terrorists. So as well as slaughtering women, children, burning kids alive in their rooms, pregnant women taking hostages, as well as all of that bad stuff, brace yourself, they are also liars. I know, hard to believe. It's not only disgraceful that multiple media organisations around the world are quoting their casualty numbers as fact, it is utterly abhorrent. And Reuters, by the way, their job is to feed other news organisations all of their information. They sent the following alert yesterday, and I quote, Israeli strikes kill 326 in Gaza, collapsing ceasefire with Hamas. So that alert not just sent to thousands of news agencies, but seen by millions globally. It is criminal. They are repeat offenders and they should be shut down until they understand and learn how to report the truth. Those are numbers literally coming out seconds after from Hamas, the terrorists. I don't get how this is so confusing. And the BBC shock me. The BBC, wow. They've had a pretty bad run of late, haven't they? Off the back of their Hamas documentary being pulled off air, they again are reporting at least 330 people killed in Israeli airstrikes. What the actual hell? Like BBC, at least they kind of attributed the numbers to the Hamas-run health ministry, etc., etc. One of the worst I've seen, the Australian Today show. Israel, and I quote, launched airstrikes across the Gaza Strip, killing more than 400 Palestinians, most of whom were women and children, shattering a ceasefire that had been in place since January with its deadliest bombardment in the 17-month war with Hamas. This is so dangerous. What are their sources, just out of interest? Mostly women and children. Do they realise that Hamas itself has acknowledged all the terrorist leaders that have been killed in these strikes? They're not a legitimate source of information. Mostly women and children. They burn children alive, and you are quoting them as though it is fact. Media is lapping this stuff up. I almost have no words. We've gone through this all before, and it's been proven time and time again that these numbers are not true, they're not real. Urban warfare expert John Spencer, yesterday, and poof, international media returns to reporting civilian casualty numbers provided by the Hamas Gaza Health Ministry, who can determine casualty numbers in minutes and hours with no caveats of sources, descriptions of methods of counting, distinction of combatant versus non-combatant, or context of cause of death, Israel target, etc., etc., etc. Again, you are taking your information from the same people who slaughtered 1,200 people in a day. In a day, recorded it all on camera. And you're quoting their numbers as fact. Australian journalist Antoinette Lattouf taking to Instagram overnight, accusing those fighting to eradicate Hamas, again, the terrorists, of being right-wing and cheering for genocide, myself included. A little FYI, Antoinette, wanting bloodthirsty terrorists eliminated entirely is not calling for genocide. Nor is it right-wing. For so many reasons I don't have the time to explain. But Google will help. Now do better. as the woke lefties would always say, just to label people as you seem to enjoy doing. And this stuff, it's not just factually incorrect, by the way, it's creating a false narrative that will cost more lives, including the lives you pretend to care about. So doing Hamas's dirty work for them by buying into and legitimizing the very terror they unleash on millions, their own people as well, that is what you are all doing. National security and foreign policy researcher Khaled Hassan on X said this: "I've never seen that many Gazans angry at Hamas. For the first time in my life, the overwhelming majority of Gazans are treating them with the contempt they deserve. I can confidently say that the majority of Gazans I saw commenting online said they want the hostages released in exchange for a return to ceasefire." So people in Gaza absolutely might all hate Israel. Fine. But most know who is really to blame for their suffering. They do. And it ain't their Jewish neighbours. So if you really, really want to help them, all of you who seem to be fighting so hard, help destroy Hamas. It is so basic. Egypt, again pretending to be upstanding leaders fighting for peace. Their foreign ministry releasing a statement following Israel's airstrikes in Gaza. They say, and I quote, "We condemn the attacks that resulted in the deaths of more than 300 Palestinians." Quoting, "This is a serious violation of the ceasefire agreement. We call on the international community to act to stop the aggression." I mean, what do they all say? Oh, this didn't happen in a vacuum? That wasn't true for October 7, by the way, but it is for this. Does Egypt understand Hamas broke the ceasefire? That Hamas refused to engage? That America and Israel agreed to something very reasonable and Hamas wouldn't? Does Egypt understand Hamas is still holding lots of hostages? I mean, do you have any better suggestions for what Israel might do, I don't know, regarding a neighbour that has publicly promised to continue killing them, Israel, every opportunity they get? I mean, I haven't seen any from you. Why don't you take all the innocents from Gaza if you care so deeply? You're calling on the international community to intervene. What are you guys, chopped liver? You intervene. Help get the hostages back. You know, the people being held in terror tunnels and tortured daily. And the aggression you refer to? I know who the aggressors are, and it's not who you're referring to. The aggression, apparently, will stop when the hostages are released and Hamas cease to exist, not a second before. Now, failure. Failure. It's a good word, isn't it? It's not overused because it's so relevant in so many places, like the world's reaction in general to the largest loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust. How do we need, still, detailed reports into October 7 to try and convince people that it actually happened? Hamas filmed the vast majority of it themselves. I mean, on the flip side, I guess we need professionals to debunk the mass propaganda and lies that have saturated the media since that horrific day, but still, we are still having to try and do reports to prove what occurred, which was filmed by the terrorists who perpetrated the atrocities. Anyway, esteemed British historian Lord Roberts of Belgravia has spent the past 12 months putting together the 7 October Parliamentary Commission report. Now, it was handed down this week. If you engage in this debate at all, you should read it in its entirety. Read it in its entirety. Now, he described within, and I quote, "Scenes of sadistic barbarism not seen in world history since the rape of Nanjing in 1937. He goes on, "Hamas and its allies, both in the Middle East and equally shamefully in the West, have sought to deny the atrocities, despite the ironic fact that much of the evidence for the massacres derives from the film footage from cameras captured by the terrorists themselves." Really. Now, I've spent the past week in Canada, as you know, I mentioned at the start. Cheers to this incredible woman for showing no fear whatsoever, despite being surrounded by cowards with covered faces dressed as terrorists. She has every right to call them out, and call them out she did.
Allahu Akbar.
Leave her. This is a roadway. Leave her. This is a roadway.
Leave her to us.
For emergency service. If we have fire or whatever, you're not allowed here. I'm a resident here.
Peace, yes, freedom, yes. Yes, we agree with you.
I live here.
Hey, you don't fucking touch her.
Don't fucking touch me.
Don't touch her. You're the one who's touching her. Don't touch her.
Don't move where I'm walking.
And you don't come and harass
I
us and then
live
ask us this
here,
bullshit.
and this roadway is against the law to block. In Canada, it's against the law.
Are you for your...
Let's not engage.
Yes.
Let's not engage.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
These are our roadways for safety and to get to our jobs and to go to the TTC.
I would love to accompany you so you're safe. Let's go.
I'm not going that way.
Okay, whichever way you want to go, you're free to go.
Whoa,
Thank you.
really?
Yeah. Have a wonderful time. I appreciate you understanding.
Listen, totally unacceptable in Ontario. Totally unacceptable. Why we allow this in our government is totally unacceptable.
Now, notice that she didn't say a word about Israel or the Jews. She's a Canadian who just wants her country back. Wearing Hamas headscarves, these people are terrorizing all of Canada. Just like they do in every single country where they hide their faces and wave these flags of terrorists. They care not for a second about anyone in Gaza. This is what they mean. It's not, oh, I'm not Israeli, I'm not Jewish, I don't need to get involved, I don't need to care. They're blocking the roads that could be taking your loved one to a hospital in an ambulance. This stuff impacts everyone. They hate Western civilization. They are dressed as terrorists. They are wearing Hamas headbands. This has nothing to do with trying to save kids in Gaza. If it did, they'd be trying to stop Hamas, like the rest of us with half a clue are. Everyone has to be engaged in this fight. If you believe in peace and freedom, you have to stand up against terrorism. That's who this fight is against. Anyone who wears a Hamas headband and waves a Hamas flag, they do not want the kind of life that you want and that you enjoy in your country. Fight for it. Democrats, not satisfied with just trying to destroy Musk, with championing the cause of terror supporter Mahmoud Khalil and advocating for men in women's sports, have added another cause that's sure to bring American Democrats back into the fold. Yep, the plight of Tren de Aragua gang members.
What Namiki and what Democrats are doing is taking the side of dangerous illegal aliens.
We're taking the side of the law in this country and civil rights. And I think you're using that as an excuse to violate civil rights.
It's why they elected, again, it was Donald Trump's signature issue in this latest election. He won the popular vote. He won every swing state. He won it running away, promising to do exactly this.
I kid you not. I mean, they could probably, I'm just trying to help them out here, adopt a slogan, bring them home. I mean, it's one that the vast majority of them haven't used much over the 18 months, they could repurpose it. Bring them home. TDA. Bring them home. TDA. I mean, to be honest, nothing would surprise me these days. For those confused as to who they are, they're a Venezuelan gang that Trump declared a terrorist organization on his first day back in office. And I quote from the presidential action itself, "The cartels have engaged in a campaign of violence and terror throughout the Western Hemisphere that has not only destabilized countries with significant importance for our national interests, but also flooded the United States with deadly drugs, violent criminals, and vicious gangs." So for those still confused or just a little time poor, let me sum it up for you. I think President Trump might describe it like this as well. These are very, very, very bad people. So clearly it only makes sense that the Democrats have jumped on board. Like really, they are fighting for this.
But we also can't go down this road that the Trump administration is taking us on and potentially deport American citizens, deport legal and lawful permanent residents, and break up law-abiding immigrant families who are contributing to this country.
Ilhan Omar believes the Trump admin's immigration policies are hurting criminals.
It is hard to imagine anything more un-American than that. The Trump administration's immigration policy is a threat to immigrants like criminals.
I mean, what? What? Now they're going to fight for criminals? Come on. It's hurting criminals. I mean, keep this up, the Democrats will never, ever find themselves in power ever again. So a law from 1798 was used to deport these delinquents, alleged, just in case for legal reasons, much to the chagrin of some in the US media.
Carried out some of the deportations of the flights from being invoked under the alien.
We removed terrorists. That should be a celebration. We removed terrorists from this country. I stand by what the president did.
How do you determine whether somebody is a gang member? What criteria do you use?
We removed terrorists from the country this weekend. I can't believe any media would question the president's ability to remove terrorists from this country.
But what do you say to those who say what do you say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
But some would say this is...
How many more times do you...
Appleman strikes again. So too, senior advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller, schooling CNN again.
So you called the judge's order just earlier today, quote, patently unlawful, end quote, and said that it was an assault on democracy itself. Does that mean that the administration is ignoring this order, and might you ignore future court orders that meet the criteria you laid out?
The President of the United States and his administration reserve all rights under the Constitution to conduct national security operations in defense of the United States. The Alien Enemies Act, which was passed into law by the founding generation of this country, men like John Adams, was written explicitly to give the President the authority to repel an alien invasion of the United States. That is not something that a district court judge has any authority whatsoever to interfere with, to enjoin, to restrict, or to restrain any way. You can read the law yourself. He's exercising his core Article 2 powers as Commander-in-Chief.
Is Venezuela invading the U.S.?
This is a very important point. This is a Title 50 authority. It's a Commander-in-Chief authority. So just to ask you a simple question, you talk about how the system works. Does a district court judge have the right to direct or enjoin troop movements overseas? Yes or no?
Well, Stephen, my question...
Well, no,
if you could answer my question first,
in other words,
is Venezuela invading our country in a way that would apply this way?
So I'll answer yours and you'll answer mine. Under the terms of the statute, Tren de Aragua is an alien enemy force that has come here as detailed at length in the proclamation at the direction of the Venezuelan government. The statute says that a president has the ability to repel an invasion or predatory incursion that is directed by a foreign
state
government.
or a government, right? Are they a state or a government?
This would be, yes, it is documented that TDA was sent by the Venezuelan government in the proclamation. And here's an even more important point. Under the Constitution, who makes that determination? A district court judge elected by no one, or the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy? The president and the president alone makes a decision of what triggers that determination.
So do you then think
in the
we
statute.
are actually at war with Venezuela, the nation-state of Venezuela?
You're not hearing me, and you're not understanding me. Read the statute, Alien Enemies Act, 1798. It says if a predatory incursion is perpetrated by a foreign government, so it lists three qualifying actions. It could be an act of war.
It does say in the very beginning there has to be a declared war against a nation or a state. That's what it says.
No, wrong. Look up the statute. It's on my account on social media.
That's actually where we
Everyone
found
can
it
go
earlier.
Yes. It says, or a predatory incursion, or an invasion. The statute delineates three criteria for triggering the Alien Enemies Act. One is an act of war, which, by the way, an invasion is an act of war, but put that aside. One is an invasion, which this is. One is a predatory incursion, which this is. So it actually meets all three statutory criteria, but with respect to this particular statute, the proclamation is utilizing the incursion and invasion language in the statute. But this is a very important question, because no, hold on. It's a very important question. You said the way our system works is the President of the United States commands the armed forces of the country, commands the foreign policy of the country, and that's subject to district court review. That is fundamentally untrue.
I never said that, Stephen. I did not say...
That has never been true.
This was not a military operation.
A district court judge can no more enjoin the expulsion of foreign terrorists to foreign soil, that he can direct the movement of Air Force One, that he can direct the movement of an aircraft carrier, that he can direct Marco Rubio to engage in diplomacy in a country. There's no way.
At what point in the system, Stephen,
how are you going to expel? Hold on. How are you going to expel illegal alien invaders from our country who are raping little girls, who are murdering little girls, if each and every deportation has to be adjudicated in a district court judge? That means you have no country, it means you have no sovereignty, it means you have no future. It is fundamentally incompatible to have a country and have individual expulsions adjudicated by a single district court judge.
I'm just trying, Stephen, you've made your argument.
We do not have a foreign policy.
We've heard you say this. Did you ignore, did the administration ignore the order from the district judge? It's a simple question.
I've answered it. I've answered it because the Department of Justice has made a filing in the court. But let me make another point. The judge, in this case, put the lives of every single person on those aircraft at risk. Did he know how much fuel was in those planes? Did he know the flight conditions? Did he know the weather conditions? Did he know how many crew hours? Did he know the need for crew rest? Did he know any of that? No. This judge violated the law. He violated the Constitution. He defied the system of government that we have in this country.
Because that does seem to be what you're arguing.
These same district court judges didn't do a damn thing to stop Joe Biden from flooding this nation with millions of illegal aliens. Do these district court judges didn't issue any injunctions to save the lives of Jocelyn Hungary or Lake Riley or anyone
the federal
else?
Courts. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that what you said, there's a separation of powers. The judiciary exercises judgment and relief.
I don't speak for the White House. You are here to speak
I will do.
You're here to speak for the White House.
I
just want you to answer that one simple question.
I am. Ready? Here we go. Under a proper reading of the Constitution, district court judges provide relief to individual plaintiffs seeking relief. District court judges do not have the authority, as a general matter, to enjoin the functioning of the executive branch. But their authority is at its lowest point when the president is exercising his powers as commander-in-chief. And I asked you a question, you never answered it. Can a judge enjoin troop movements overseas? Can a district court judge enjoin troop movements overseas?
Stephen,
yes or no?
I am not going to get into the
just say no, and then you'll know that I'm right.
This is a
just
separate
say no,
question,
and you'll know that
Stephen.
I'm right.
Okay, we're not talking about other...
Now, I'm trying to predict who the Democrats might start backing next. And this is a tough one because it's hard to go lower than a terrorist supporter and a Venezuelan armed gang. It's hard, but I reckon if Hannibal Lecter were real, it would be him. Now, America, finally under the presidency of Trump, has grown some balls and took direct action against terrorist group that has been, well, terrorizing American citizens for years. The America I thought I knew would have never allowed anyone to fire at its shipping and naval vessels without strong rebuttal, right? But not under Biden. The Houthis, of course, funded by Iran, shock me, have enjoyed for the most part a pretty free ride. Gentlemen, that luxurious existence is now over. Prepare to pay.
لن تتردد في استهداف كافة القطع الحربية الأمريكية في البحرين الأحمر والعربي ردا على العدوان على بلدنا وأنها بعون الله تعالى مستمرة في فرض الحصار البحري على
Now, can we please take a moment to shout out whoever is doing the social media for the White House? I'm serious here. It is. I mean, the official account of the White House posted this, and I quote, "Bye-bye, Rasha," with a hand-waving emoji. Oh my God. They're literally trolling terrorist-loving and Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah funeral attending Rasha Alawieh, a doctor who worships death lords. Makes sense. Go figure. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Now, I'm not about to let the White House official account win the posting games, of course. President Trump shared his response to an interview request from magazine The Atlantic. All I can say is, ouch. Now, the highlights for me out of a fairly lengthy reply, he's good, isn't he? He gives everyone his time. Doesn't matter who you are, even if he despises you, he gives you his time. This would have taken effort to put together, and it's so him, so you can't say that there was an automatic signing pen doing it or a little staffer. He says, he calls him third rate, the journalist a radical left lunatic, who is also a terrible journalist, incapable of understanding the intricacies of high-level politics. And he finishes with, the Atlantic is doing a terrible job, losing a fortune, and will hopefully fold up in the not-too-distant future. I mean, no one will ever die wondering with Trump, which I think is a good thing. I mean, you'd rather that than the alternative. And whilst the thought of being at the receiving end of a spray like that yourself is utterly terrifying, gosh, it's fun when you're not the target of it. And in my humble opinion, also deserving of it. There you go. Speaking of boss moves out of the White House, Trump has this new member of his security detail, and he might just give Rambo a run for his money. This guy, the real deal. Christian Craighead was an SAS operator who stormed a hotel under terrorist siege and single-handedly eliminated multiple Islamists and saved more than 200 lives. So normally that wouldn't have been enough to qualify him for the job in the White House under, say, Biden's leadership, because unfortunately he's also white and male. But now, with DEI dead, he gets the gig. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed finding anyone more qualified, let alone, gotta say, cooler. So this is what removing this woke policy does, by the way. It allows the best people for the job to get that job. Crazy, right? Who'd have thought? Former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton is angling for world's biggest chip award, on his shoulder, that is, still unable to move on from being so publicly rejected. His obsession plays out on where else? In real time on CNN. Now, despite the US president clearly thinking pretty poorly of Bolton after basically blacklisting him publicly, the new media hack wants us to believe that he knows the intricate workings of Trump's brain. I mean, come on.
The pressure that Trump has put on for a ceasefire is motivated by one thing: Trump's desire for good publicity and to buttress his case to get a Nobel Peace Prize.
I mean, good publicity? Is he serious? Trump has literally just won the electoral and popular vote plus every swing state. He's breaking records all over the shop for getting shit done. People are obsessed with him. Plus, it's not like he's trying to score points for another term. Look at the bad publicity that was forced upon him and he had to endure for 8 years. I mean, that didn't hurt him much, did it? I suspect he couldn't give a tinker's cuss about good publicity after all he's been through. You're a fraud. The only people he cares about impressing are the ones he serves. Not the likes of you trying to score cheap political points concerning a war where hundreds of thousands have died on a network that's less credible than Hunter Biden. Oh, and speaking of people less credible than Hunter Biden, former vice presidential candidate Tim Walz attempting humour as he fights desperately to remain relevant.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, you know, and take out, just telling you.
So just a reminder, Teslas are being firebombed. Dealerships attacked. Someone will die if this doesn't stop soon. So he is stoking these flames. It is utterly appalling. What a scumbag. Oh, and Tim, for the record, the vast majority of Americans celebrated your minuscule vote going down during the election too, by the way. Our favourite astronauts finally came home. All thanks to, yes, you guessed it, the target of Tim Walz's ire. Oh, terrifying. Elon Musk. Really not sure how he found the time, you know, between running his own major company, saving the American economy, fighting off death threats from deranged Democrats. But he did.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
And SpaceX Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
Wow. The unelected, as they keep reminding us, Musk did what the former elected American president could not. But still, they'll call him a liar, a thief, a Nazi, and a traitor. And that is the positive stuff. Again, my friends, you could not make this stuff up. I'll see you next week.